I look at it, and most of us look at it as a marathon race, and you don't begin a marathon race with sprint. Okay. Otherwise, you will get tired before the actual finish line. So this is why we will see that some parties are not making as much noise as you are hearing from some camps, and it's 2023. Like I always said, it's going to be an election like no other in Nigeria, because it's going to be a watershed in the march towards the entrenchment of democracy in this country, because all eyes globally are on Nigeria, because Nigeria matters a lot. If you look at it from the global setting, whether you're looking at the economic aspect of it, or you're looking at the political aspect of it, or you look at the social aspect of it, Nigeria plays big, because we have the largest population on the continent of Africa, and
I do agree with you. I mean, totally. I mean, in terms of what you've just said, but you know what, and I also do agree with you to a large extent that it's a marathon, right? But the danger is this: it's possible for one person or a competitor to be well ahead, and when you now decide to pick up pace, it may be too late. But then let me allow you enlighten us on the cardinal thrust of your party manifesto and now your overall blueprint that ties key national challenges and forges a synergy for coordinated development, and not one that is lopsided and allows one sector perhaps to thrive at the expense of another.
Yeah, well, we believe our philosophy is that of social capitalism. That's what we believe Nigeria policy, the philosophy that will fit the kind of situation we have in this country, because this is a country that has very strong fundamentals when it comes to the economy, the economic aspect of this country. But if you look at the domestic economy itself, the structures are very weak. So because the structures are very weak, and this is an economy that should key into the global trend, which means you have to be capitalist in your outlook. But then you have to dampen kind of dampers, in ensuring that the weakness you have in the structures for domestic economy, so that the weak ones I'm talking about the poor now, are not adversely affected. That's why my party and my administration, we're looking at social capitalism, and we're also looking at the situation where we place, or rather we square our programs on if you like, 3-point agenda. That we are going to look at the energy transition. We are going to look at the climate change. We are going to look at the fourth industrial revolution, which is going to powered by information technology, and we see how we take advantage of this global trend, because if you look at discussions going on in the global setting today, it's about climate change, it's about energy transition, it's about information technology. This is where Nigeria should be leading, and that's why my administration will take Nigeria into, because we have what it takes. If you are looking at information technology, we have young dynamic population that are very, very intelligent, that have what it takes to really be amongst the first 11 when you are talking about the players in that information technology space. And when you come to climate change, we as a Nigerian, because what contributes so much to the climate change, you talk about fossil fuel and things like that. We are number 6 in terms of the countries that produce crude oil, and the gas, which is the energy transition source for the world. We have we're indeed a gas country, so which means we have a lot to gain from these 3 mantra that runs the entire economy of the world today. That's why we will be straighten our programs
And the tree
on how to take advantage of this so much, because we talk about debts.
Yes.
We can in fact, get what can translate to debt forgiveness or debt
you just referenced two key issues for me.
Yes.
Earlier you talked about poverty, and now you talk about our rising debt.
Yes.
I suspect, like the others, you also plan to curb, or is it to end poverty in Nigeria? I'm sure you have a plan for that.
Certainly. Our biggest problem today in Nigeria is revenue. Look at even the budget we have today. The revenue is about 9.7 trillion naira. Our expenditure is 20.57 trillion naira, which means 50% of your budget is going to be sourced from either borrowing or I don't know how, or selling assets.
The point really is, how do you intend to change a scenario like that?
Exactly.
Also, we translate what has become a trail of national budget deficits into one that is balanced, and not just balanced but sustainably so.
Yeah, it's not balanced, and we don't, this government, or rather, let me talk about our government. What our government is going to do, we'll make sure that we fight this cankerworm of financial leakages, especially in the oil and gas sector, which truly, if we operate that oil and gas sector on the basis of the international best practice, there's no way we're going to have people stealing our crude oil in the manner they're stealing them today. There's no way you have your Cartagena Federation stealing billions of naira of your money, and that's the tip of the iceberg. If probe is going to be real probe is going to be carried out into that sector, believe you me, what we hear will be in trillions. And I mean it, because just recently we were told that about 80% of our crude oil is being stolen, and then Nigeria is we are doing firefighting, all this engagement of Tampolo and what have you. Yes, when you put yourself in such a mess, then what do? You can't take urine to wash, your excrement. So the point I'm trying to make is that there are standard processes, standard systems of ensuring that people do not steal your crude oil the way they're stealing it today. For instance, I know when I conducted the study for NIT on the military infrastructure, I discovered that there's no meters at the wellheads. And if you don't know your production, if you can't determine what you are producing, how do you know how much you are making? How is it not possible that people will steal your crude oil without you knowing? Because you don't even know how much you are producing. You don't have meters. And then if you can't put meters at wellheads, why not put them at the gathering fields? Even at the gathering fields, you don't have meters that will tell you how much have come there. So the point I'm trying to make is that we are running the most important sector of our economy in the most bizarre manner, in a way that is criminally run by those that are in charge of that sector. They know what they're doing. That's a strong one. It's not a strong one. The issue is that if you look at the upstream, for instance, upstream, is normally joint venture between us and the international oil companies. Why is it that international oil companies are using the latest technology in monitoring what is going into their systems, and when it comes to Nigeria, the government that has 60% of the share is manually managed? So that's criminal, because we know what we are doing. It's not that you don't know the systems to put in place. Our government will come and ensure that we do not get change, or our money is not stolen in the manner it's being stolen.
So when I said earlier that that's a strong one, I actually meant it's a strong opinion, and I suspect your experience in politics also, should make you hold strong opinion on issues of fiscal and state restructuring, for instance, as well as the workings. For instance, when we talk about fiscal, we make sure. Sorry, if you just allow me, and because I would really like to move you to other issues of governance, like federalism. For instance, as opposed to our current status, or the current status of our federation, a lot of people would say or may say that our union is strong, but is it truly strong? So, tell me your development plan, or how your development plan intends to realign our federalism in a way and manner that works and promotes competitiveness amongst the regions, inclusiveness for all citizens, for you, for me, for everyone, and the general development of our union.
We have a union that's very strong, I must tell you, because we have a constitutional democracy. Constitutional democracy means you don't do things arbitrarily. is where you don't have legal framework that you do things arbitrarily. And this constitution that you have is a living document. You can always amend it to suit the dynamics of the situation that you are in. That's why you have representatives that you have elected to represent you in the National Assembly, so that when things are not working the way they were designed or the way they were put, so that they can change things to meet the requirement of the moment. So that's why I believe we have a system that is alive, if we really operate it the way we're supposed to operate it. Our government, my administration, will ensure that National Assembly operates independently, but in harmony with the executive arm, because we are going to pursue policies that will respond to the needs of the people. For instance, we are going to make sure we align our fiscal policies with our monetary policies. We will not allow our central bank governor to become an agriculture minister or industry minister or health minister that will be talking about how to buy things, and then even if you want to go agriculture, you have agriculture banks. What has happened to, why should the governor that will be giving policy decisions be going into last mile? That's why we are turning the whole pyramid on his head.
Very quickly. Yes. Also, okay. Also, let me just let you land here.
Yeah.
Because we need to move this along. We're fast losing time.
Also, we will not allow to pile up debts. We will make sure that we take full advantage of what we have in terms of the sectors that are there, which are like ripe fruit to be plucked. Which ones? You have solid mineral sector, you have oil and gas sector, you have agriculture sector. What is lacking is leadership to move these sectors in a manner that will produce for us and then deliver. I
want to something and I need a quick response.
Yes.
Where do you stand on the issue of resource control and revenue allocation in Nigeria? Give me a sense of your opinion or stance on the rather almighty, let me use the word almighty, exclusive list of federal responsibilities.
Well, you see, there's no country that doesn't have exclusive legislative list,
would you, for instance, allow power generation distribution to be only on the exclusive list if you were president?
Power generation should be done in a manner that it will be sustainable. And the issue of power is not something that you can just, you need a lot of money.
Would it be on the exclusive list in your presidency?
It will be on the exclusive list to the extent that each state, in the federation is sufficiently, provided with enough energy. And how do you do that?
And then you would hinder states like, say, Lagos with capacity to generate their own power and not to have rights to do that?
No, there's no, you see, even as we have today, Lagos State has not approached the government with a proposal that we want to generate, power, and they'll say, no, you cannot. It's just been politicized. It's politics that is coming into it. But the reality is that even federal government is looking for ways by which they can shed, some of these responsibilities. So it's not like a straitjacket thing that you say this one is this list. The point I'm trying to make is that power is not something that you can say.
It's just one of them. I can go on and mention several sectors. But you know what? At this point, I will pause you for a bit, just for a few seconds, as a matter of fact, while we get set for the next phase of our conversation, which will be a quick one. It is ticking the boxes. When we return, our guest will join us in reviewing some policy issues and gauge their feasibility in terms of completion within a given time frame, which is a period of 4 years. We'll be back shortly. Time now for our guest Yabaji Sani of the Action Democratic Party ADP to briefly review some of the policy issues on the ballot and take which options best suit his viewpoint. I'll remind you again, these options are all within the time frame of 4 years, which of course is the first term of a sitting president, any sitting president for that matter. We have a couple of issues on the board. Let me see if we can put that up real quick. There are 4 issues issues on the board. You have three options. There is the option of realistic. If you think any of the issues we're raising is realistic, there's also the issue of unrealistic. There's also the option, I beg your pardon, of unrealistic, and then of course there's also the option of undecided. Let's go with the first. Now, universal health care within a period of 4 years, first 4 years of your presidency, do you think it is realistic to achieve universal health care? Is it unrealistic? Are you undecided on the matter?
It's realistic.
Realistic?
Yes.
Within the first 4 years?
Yes.
Okay. Very quickly, we'll take that for you as being realistic. We'll go to the second issue there on our board. Let's quickly put that back on. Downsizing government. I mean, this is an issue that has plagued us, that has plagued the country. A lot of times people say the size of our government is part of the reason why we are nearing the near broke, if we're not already there, situation.
For instance.
Yes. So
for you, in the budget, this budget you have about 8.something trillion naira. It's in recurrent expenditure.
So,
which is about this?
Can you downsize the size of government in 4 years?
Of course,
realistic?
Of course.
So that's realistic for you. We'll go to item number 3 very quickly. National unity. And in the context of national unity, we're talking about issues like ethnic colorations, whether in politics, whether in governance. We do have the Federal Character Commission, but is that really playing out? Is that working for us? In your first 4 years as president, do you think national unity is an option that is realistic or unrealistic, or you're undecided on that?
Let me tell you something. We are at IPAC, we are working on a situation where we have a kind of national unity government, or whatever you want to call it, so that end of the day it will not be winner take all.
So it is realistic for you.
It is realistic. This is
very quickly. Let me quickly move on to ending insecurity, which is the final item or issue on our board. Can you end insecurity in 4 years? Is it realistic or unrealistic? Are you undecided on the matter?
Insecurity
in 4 years.
Insecurity, yes, but insecurity, you must understand that even America suffers from insecurity.
I get that, but
where you will think
so. It's not something you can end in 4 years.
And what do you mean by end? I will make sure that insecurity is controlled, that Nigeria will become a safer country than it is today.
Very well then. I would like to thank you very much, Yabaji Sani, Presidential Candidate, Action Democratic Party, ADP, for coming on the ballot. I do wish you the very best, as you go ahead in your campaigns. Thank you so much for coming on the ballot. Thank you so much for coming on the ballot.
Thank you very much for having me.
Very well done. It is officially 129 days until the curtain opens on the 2023 general elections. We will be counting down the days with you. Be ready to play your part. We are already playing ours. I'm hoping that you go out and you do what you have to do. Make sure you go out on election day and you vote. We'll do this again tomorrow, but then at our usual time at 10:05 p.m. I'll see you then. Bye for now.
Cross River State in south of Nigeria is a home of tourism, from the swelling plateaus of the mountaintops of Obaliku to the rainforest of Afi, from the waterfalls of Abokin and Kwa to the sprawling Oxbow Calabar River, its biggest street party in Nigeria, not forgotten, the Calabar Residency Museum, as well as the Calabar Slave Park. One can hardly have enough of the state when it comes to tourism. At the peak of all these treasure, however, is the Obudu Mountain Resort. If there was ever a need to go for a family vacation, disappear for a few days from your busy schedule, treat your wife to a spectacular honeymoon, or even decide to live a little by giving yourself a treat, Obudu Mountain Resort is undoubtedly the first choice destination. It is indeed God's gift to Nigeria and the world.
Obudu is God's gift to the world, but more so nature's gift to Cross River State. What the founding fathers of the new Cross River State have done is to change Obudu and represent it as a gift to Nigerians and to the world. Today in the Obudu Mountain Resort, we have the icon of our tourism initiative, the flagship of our tourism drive, and of course, our best foot forward in conference tourism, in leisure tourism, and what have you.
Obudu Mountain Resort, formerly known as Obudu Cattle Ranch, is located in Obaliko local government area in northeastern part of Cross River State and boasts of both a spectacle and climate that cannot be equated with any other tourist destination in this part of the world. As a flagship tourist destination in the country, it has attracted millions of tourists, particularly from 2005, when it announced its arrival on the world stage with the launching of the annual Obudu Mountain Race. Even before its transformation to a tourist destination of choice by the Donald Duke administration in the early 2004, this wonderful work of nature is a desirable sight to behold. The entire landscape is breathtaking, beautiful, and exhilarating, with a meandering road from the base to the top of the plateau, which has been estimated to be 1,600 meters above sea level. No matter the time of the year you visit the ranch, you are surely going to be held spellbound by this wonderful work of nature. The decision to tap into this gold mine has since turned the place into an exotic world-class paradise amidst technology, nature, and human network. Starting with the provision of state-of-the-art accommodation to all class of people, from ordinary tourists and fun seekers to presidents and kings. The intervention indeed raised the profile of Obudu to such an extent that a former president of this country could not hide his joy during his visits over a decade ago, as he was seen clapping and dancing with the local community members.
This is happening in the lifetime of a pastor. This is happening when we take tourism as one of the 6 areas of development in the country. Adapting the report is global craft. And all the things that go with it, you see it at the bottom are the bottom of the hill, now on the hill, top of it. All of it to the honor and glory of God, who put it in government and all those who have been instrumental to bring this about. For the pleasure and enjoyment of those who will make use of it. The relaxation and satisfaction. And for the welfare and well-being of everybody who will work here. So be it.
To make the peak of the resort accessible, a snake-like winding road, which further accentuates the beauty of the place, the road had 20 twists and turns from the ground level to the peak of the mountain for easy and safe navigation of the entire area. Safety signposts have been provided at strategic positions to guide the tourists. Nature has also endowed this heaven with a very rich and lush vegetation all year round. For instance, the Betcheve Nature Reserve, which is as old as the ranch itself, occupied a central position among the endowments at the top of the plateau, covering several kilometers. This rainforest, which boasts of a rich flora and fauna, has been well protected over the years to further enhance the status of the reserve without altering the vegetation. A medium-sized canopy walkway has been added to further thrill the visitors.
We have now started to enter the montane forest. This is a typical description of a montane forest. A montane forest, all the trees and all the plants, the shrubs, they all grow at the same time, including the closed canopy. The difference between a montane forest and a rainforest is like that in the rainforest, only the closed canopy that exists. The underground is always open, and that's the reason why you cannot find bigger animals in the montane forest, because in the montane forest it's very thick, all the plants grows at the same time. While in the rainforest you can find bigger animals like elephants, buffaloes. You can also find them in the bigger forest, because in those areas the forest is open that they can go. They don't allow younger trees to come, except there is a lock for a big tree to die before they can open the area for the sun to come in, allow another tree to grow again.
The desire to maintain the natural state has also impacted on some of the waterfalls, which have been integrated into the tourism master plan of the resort. To this end, a grotto has been created around one of such waterfalls to offer tourists an opportunity either to hang around the waterfall or even swim in the adjoining natural swimming pool created from